Guys, we have integer exponent powers still over here. All right, so as we continue, and in these cases here, we're going to deal with bases or base. Okay, so that's the base. So 3 is a base, y is a base, -2 is a base, -1/2 is a base. And then we have the powers, -4 is a power, -6 is a power, -5 is a power, -3 is also a power. So now we have all negative powers here. And we said in our previous videos that we will never leave our answers into negative powers in these problems. Okay, under this topic, it's almost like forbidden to have negative powers as your final answer. Okay, make sure that they come as positive powers. Now, how are we going to deal with the first question here? So 3 power -4. So the first thing we got to do, but the rules that we had before, remember? So when you have x power, so let's say you have x power -n, that is equal to what? 1 over x power +n, right? So that's what we're going to apply here. So this one will give us what? 1 over 3 to the 4th power. All right? But the common mistakes that people make is once they do this one, we are so happy, and then we're done, we move on to the next question. No. You still have to account for that number underneath. Okay? So that means you're going to have to calculate it. So to calculate that, we know this will give us, so 1 over, so it's 3 by 3 by 3 by 3, right? That's what it means. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Okay, so we know 3 by 3 is 9. 3 by 3 is 9. 9 by 9 is 81. So we can do it, easy as that. So it's 1 over 81. And you are finished for the first question. So 181 is good. All right, so let's go to the second question here. So we have y power -6. So y power -6, the same thing. We just follow the rules. Okay, so that's the reason why we have rules, so you can look at it in the first videos that we have where we put down all those rules. Okay, so using the rule here, this one will give us what? It's just going to give us 1 over y to the 6th power. Is there anything else that we can do? No, because we have no other base to deal with. Okay, it's only y power 6, and then we don't need to break down anything here. So we are done with this question here. Simple as that. Okay, because a lot of times we look at the problems and then we feel like we have more to do, with it, but no, this is finished. Let's go to question number 3. This one is -2 power -5. Okay, so the same concept, following the rule, that's what we're going to do, right? So what does that mean? That means we have this one equal to, so we have 1 over -2 power -5. The common mistake that people make, we're always going to talk about those because we need to talk about those so that you know not to do it. Okay, so negative. So a lot of people will put this one as +2 because they move it also down for the base. The base does not change sign. Only the power changes sign. Okay, so the base stays like that for now, but here this one is +5. Okay, so got to be +5, not -5. Once it moves, it becomes positive. The sign changes to the opposite. Okay, so are we done yet? No, because we still got to make sure that we break down these numbers into the lowest terms. So that means if we go to the right side here, the first thing is we have a negative number inside the parentheses and an odd number as a power. So anytime you have a negative number in parentheses and a power which is an odd number, meaning if it's 1, if it's 3, 5, 7, 9, what's going to happen? So automatically the sign is going to be retained as negative number as your final answer. Okay? So that means automatically, if I have 1 over here, so that means I already know that my answer is going to be a negative answer, negative number. So now the next thing is to do 2 power 5. So 2 power 5 is going to give us what? So it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. all right, which is going to give us actually 32. Okay, so you guys can do that operation on your own. Okay, because 2 by 2 is 4, 4 by 2 is 8, 8 by 2 is 16, and 16 times 2 is 32. Simple as that. All right, so you have 1 over negative 32. So one more thing that we're going to do here is that a lot of times also, we do not like to leave negative number at the denominator of a fraction. So what does that mean? What are we going to do? Positive 1 divided by a negative 32. So positive divided by negative is always what? Negative. So what are we going to get here is going to be equals to negative 1 over 32. Instead of having 1 over negative 32, we have negative 1 over 32, ladies and gentlemen, okay? It is not difficult, but these are rules that we have to keep going. That's the reason why we got to be here. We got to watch the videos and then check things out. Okay, last but not least, and then this one even seems more interesting. Okay, so as we going further, we're going to see more interesting questions so that we can get ready for our test and everything else. So this one's negative 1 over 2 power negative 3. So the first thing we got to do is what? The first thing we got to do is following the rules. We have negative power, so we're going to move it down. So it's going to be 1 over negative 1 over 2 power positive 3. Right? That'll be positive 3. So that is power positive 3. What does that mean? So you guys can see the same thing that happened with the previous question. The same thing happened here when it comes to the signs of the base. So the base, which is 1 over 2, okay, or negative 1 over 2. So we can keep the sign there. It does not change. The only thing that changes is the power. All right? Now we can work on that. But remember, what did we say about a negative number inside parentheses and then a positive odd number outside as a power? It's going to give us what? So that means our answer is going to be a negative answer no matter what. So it's going to be 1 over negative. So that'll give us a negative answer there. And then we know that 1 power 3 is 1 times 1 times 1. Okay? So it's 1 power 3 over 2 power 3, correct? Okay. So what would that give us? So that would give us 1 over. So we end up with negative 1 power 3 is 1. And then 2 power 3 is 8. So we have this one here so far. And then remember, so what's going to happen now with the negative sign at the bottom of the fraction, as we dealt with this one before. So we don't leave negative answers at the bottom of the fractions also. We just don't like it, okay? Then positive divided by negative is negative. So of course, we're going to end up with a negative. So this is equal to a negative answer. And now what's going to happen to the fraction underneath? Remember, we dealt with fractions before. Please go back, watch our videos, just to make sure that we get those done. All right? And then, so this one will be what? It's going to be 1, which we can put as 1 over 1, okay? So we're going to change the division to multiplication, so it becomes a times, and then we flip over the top one, which is 8 over 1. All right? So what do we end up with? So afterwards, it's just a straight multiplication, so this is going to give us a negative 8, because 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 1 at the bottom is 1. So we don't need that one underneath. So we end up with negative 8 as our final answer. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we deal with. All right. So we taking time so far just to break these problems down. Okay. That's the reason why we're taking time to do it, so that you guys can get acclimated to it and then we can move forward. Okay. Thank you.